Hello, my name is Chris and I will review the 2020 GMC Sierra with the diesel engine. The pickup truck is rather unknown in Montreal, except if you are in construction or in the snow removal business. It is typical for urbanites to look inward despite posturing the opposite often. We don't realize that outside of Montreal in the rest of North America, pickup trucks are not just used for work but for personal use and recreation. The GMC Sierra is an excellent example of this. Pickups are sold with unique cabin sizes and box sizes, with the biggest cabin being the crew cabin and the largest bed being the long bed. This tester is the largest or crew cabin with the short bed and an optional bed liner. The bed liner protects the box from the stuff you're hauling and also rust. The listing of this GMC Sierra is mind-boggling as there is an infinite possibility of customization. The exterior is certainly assertive to say the least, and living above the snow line, I think four-wheel drive is a must. Every brand has their distinct appearance and characteristics, and Chevy and GMC can certainly be considered the toughest looking of the bunch with an assertive front end. On the inside, it is a mixed bag. When you consider the price, this model from GMC comes without leather seats, and while these cloth seats feel durable, I did feel shortchanged. There is plenty of room, but the interior design lacks modernity. The famed GM Infotainment is easy to use and includes CarPlay and Auto, though I did find the buttons were small inside the screen and a bigger screen would simply have been more appropriate. What is undeniable about this interior is the sturdy tank-like feel of it all, far better than its rivals in this regard. How many screws did GMC use to fit this interior together so tightly? Zero rattles, almost as if it were sculpted of granite. I'm barely exaggerating. The engine is a surprise, as I have never met a diesel engine that I loved. This one performs like a gas engine, smooth, and it does not draw attention to itself. Combined with this 10-speed automatic, it delivers stunning fuel economy, 10.5 liters in the city and 9.1 liters on the highway. The specs are impressive, 277 horsepower and 460 pounds of torque. Here are my thoughts on the road. Hello, car lovers driving the 2020 GMC Sierra diesel elevation model. Ross got that this week. I'm not much of a truck guy, so you're gonna have to take my comments with a grain of salt, though I can give you a pretty good impression about how things are in an everyday use, in a recreational use, and less perhaps of a work use. We'll start with the exterior styling. It is very GM on the outside. It reminds me a little bit of the Silverado in terms of the lines, and it's M like macho, I find, and I like those lines. I find that's pretty awesome, and I can certainly understand somebody wanting to buy one of these for the look. On the inside now, I think this is where things get a little bit more interesting. I said in a previous video that the Silverado, its weakest part was the interior. I have to say it also for this one, and Ross made the remark too when we did the French video. However, I will make the qualifier is that I cannot get over how solid things feel here. This steering wheel has no plate. This door is built out of granite. Everything is so solid. You feel a sentiment that everything was well put together. So although the aesthetic quality might be probably lacking, I'd say, versus some of its rivals, the feeling of toughness, of built like a tank, certainly is as good, if not better, than some of its rivals. The suspension is a bit harder than its rivals. I would have to say that the Ram is probably the softest, the Ford F-150 is in the middle, and this one here is the roughest. It's bearable, certainly worthy of a test drive if you're wondering. The star of the show has to be this engine. I'm not a fan of diesel engines, but when I got into the truck, when Ross brought it over to my place, he said, "Christopher, do you hear the engine?" And it struck me like a kick in the nuts. It really sounds good. It doesn't sound clanky. It starts up right away. It really has like the characteristics of a wonderful gas engine. Notes about the interior, well, for this price, you don't get leather seats. I mean, you need leather at this price. I understand that the option game is very intense for trucks, right? You just go on any website and you buy their car, 2-3 models, a couple of options, but when you go into trucks, it doesn't end in terms of options. But at $67,000, you need leather. I mean, you need some sort of, I don't care if it's fake leather as long as it feels like leather. Because this is a little bit of a recreational vehicle. It's not like if you're all into work, you may not buy this vehicle. You can have it if you want for work. But I mean, I think there would be other models that come to mind before I would buy this vehicle for work. But somebody who has a boat, somebody who has, I don't know, all-terrain vehicle, snowmobile, that type of thing. This infotainment, the screen is a bit small. I find it's becoming dated. I know a lot of people like how easy to use this infotainment is, and there is some truth to that. However, the buttons are really small. There's not a lot of redundant controls, and it's just, I don't know. It requires 10 inches and a resizing of the buttons. For example, that Ford Sync that I tried recently is a good example of how it should be done, at least in 2020. So those are my thoughts on this GMC Sierra. I think it's a pretty good vehicle. I want to make a remark. It sounds like I'm being critical, but when I'm driving it, I'm really feeling good. There's something to be said about things that are well built, is that when you're in the dealership, you don't necessarily feel those. When you go to the car show, you don't feel those. But when you're driving it around, that built like a tank feel, that's when you appreciate it. And well done, GMC, for that. So those are my thoughts. By the way, if you like this video, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. And if you really like it, well, then you should subscribe. And that is it.